Hey there, my name is Russ Horn, and today I want to show you a chart pattern called a channel. Now, a channel is going to be a section of the market that is moving down or up that we can sandwich in between two parallel trend lines. I'm going to show an example of a channel that is sloped downwards. Now, I'm going to show you the entire example, and then I'm going to play back a little bit and show you how the trend line or the channel actually evolves. Now, first of all, I'm going to draw a trend line across the top. If the market is sloping down, that is going to be the main tool that I use, is a downward sloping trend line across the top. Now, if the market is moving upwards, that trend line is going to be drawn across the bottom. So that's how I'm going to start, is I'm going to connect the highs, and I can see that I've got some really nice highs here. I've got a high, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 nice areas of contact across the top. The next thing I want to do is duplicate this trend line and draw it underneath the market. So I'm going to double click, hold control down, drag the node while I'm holding control down, and that will duplicate it for me. And what I'm going to do is start out here. And we can see that price gets close, gets right to it, gets just a little bit below it, pops back. But in all of these instances, the price is being affected by the bottom channel. The top, you're going to find, because you can draw that one initially, is going to be right on the money most of the time. The channel wall on the opposite side, you have to give a little bit of leeway, a little bit of slack, because it's not going to be 100% every time. But we do notice that the market is being affected at this level. So let's go back and draw this from scratch. We're going to start at the very top, and we're going to take a look at how this thing forms. It's easy to do this as the market has already formed, but let's do this as the market is forming. All right, so we're going to start with this swing high and then this swing high. Market makes a high, pops down, comes back up again. So we've got our 2 swing highs. The market starts to move back down. So I can draw a trend line, and that is how a channel is going to start. I'm going to start with a trend line. So I've got my trend line drawn, and in between those 2 points of contact, I've got a swing low. So I'm going to draw an equally sloped trend line underneath to connect that. So what happens now is I want to extrapolate both of these lines. I'm going to extrapolate the line across the top. And in order to do that, I'll double click to select it and then hold the shift down. So when I drag the end node, I can't change its angle. So I'll shoot it through. Now, none of this even exists. It's only these 2 areas here. And I'll do the same thing with this one. So I've shot it through, and what happens is price gets to the bottom of the trend line and keeps going. It breaks through, and then it pops back up, but then it retests that trend line. So we know we have a very good trend line across the top. At this point, I want to make a little bit of an adjustment to the channel itself, because we have broken down and we've come to realize that the channel might just be a little bit wider than we had initially thought. So I'm going to include this bottom area here now. And again, to extrapolate it out, hold shift. So from here, what I have is a channel, and the market gets down, gets very close to it. We can see 3 different times that it is being affected by this level, and then it moves back up to the trend line and then comes back down again. So we can see that at this point, we have a really solid trend line across the top. What I might do is, because I've got these 3 nice areas that haven't quite made the trend line, I can snug this channel up just a little bit higher to accommodate that. All right, I don't want a channel that's too wide. I want a channel that is going to be functional, that the market can get to. Now I've got what I would consider to be a really nice looking channel. Now there's ways to trade this. Now there's 3 different ways. What we're looking for are long trades as the price gets to the bottom of the channel. What we're looking for are short trades as the price gets to the top of the channel. And we're also looking for a potential long trade when price breaks out of the channel and moves upwards. So let me get rid of the graphic here really quick. So In order to trade a channel as such, you're looking for some kind of trigger. There's a few different ways to do this. Once we've established that this trend line is fairly solid, and we have about 0.3 here, 1, 2, 3, you can take a short trade when price touches the trend line. When the price touches this top trend line, you could enter a trade short. Some traders may want a little more as far as confirmation or validation goes. So what we could do is draw a trend line within the channel if we can. And I can do that in here where I connect this low to this low, and we get a close below the trend line that we've drawn inside, going the opposite direction of the channel, and the price would be targeting the channel. Now, for every candle that is created, the target gets to move further and further away because the trend line is dropping further and further. Now we can do something similar for a long trade. We can draw a trend line, and as price crosses above, we can target the upper channel wall. Some people like to use candle formations, and that is perfectly fine too. Whatever your entry criteria is, it could be a stochastic crossover, it could be moving average crossover, whatever the case is, if you've got an established channel, then the market is going to react off of the top of the channel and be drawn to the opposite side, and then react and then be drawn to the opposite side, and so on. Now, again, short trades when we get to the top, long trades when we get to the bottom. And the third way to trade a channel is looking for a breakout in the opposite direction of the slope. So this channel is sloping downwards. I want to find a breakout to the upside. So that would be in this area right here. And a target for a trade on a channel would be the channel width. So I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to make it the same distance as this channel is. So if the channel is 100 pips, say, I'm going to make the target 100 pips. So we would enter and finally be taken out as the price gets to the extrapolated channel wall. So this is a channel. We have a downward sloping channel, and the same thing will apply to an upward sloping channel. I've got a section of market here where I can draw a trend line underneath the market, and I will duplicate this and draw it across the top. Now, sometimes you're going to get to the charts and there is already a very definable channel drawn. In that case, you could be looking to trade the channel or just be looking for the breakout of a channel. And that's generally how I like to trade the channel. I'm looking more for a breakout than I am trying to trade within the channel walls. Sometimes I like to trade a channel that's on a higher time frame, and then I will trade the channel in the lower time frame. So if I see a channel on a 1 hour, I can get the signals that I'm looking for, or a bias, as it were, from the channel walls and trade something like 15 minute. We've got a nice channel and price breaks out. We'll see how far this could go. So I'm going to duplicate that channel width, and the market falls down quite nicely. Sometimes the channel isn't going to be 100% perfect. And if we see something that's similar, that is really closely related to a channel, and generally speaking, it doesn't matter if the market pokes through, doesn't quite get to it, pokes through, and so on. What we can do is limit the channel height to the closest movements. So I want to include the closest movements, and then price can freely break above the channel. And then I'll be looking for trades back inside the channel once the market gets back inside. So this becomes a nice, accurate way to trade a channel if we can kind of squish it a little bit this way. So that is the channel. I hope this pattern comes in handy for you. It's something that I actively look for when I trade.